welcome to Washington Central Podcast. I am Saurabh Shukla. US has paused strikes on Iran's uh, power projects, power stations, all the installations for 5 days. President Trump announced that. That's a gesture of goodwill, but also suggests that there is an off ramp coming. In fact, I've been saying in my shows, also said on Washington Central earlier, that both sides want an off ramp. Why do they want it? What's happening on this war on Iran? What will happen to the Strait of Hormuz? How does it impact key countries like India? I will answer these questions in today's podcast. Let's jump straight to President Trump's proposal. What's happening behind the scenes? What are my sources at the White House telling me? Well, while the US clearly stated, and President Trump has been stating, that the objective for the US and Israeli forces was to make sure that Iran does not uh, possess any nuclear weapon, and that's the reason why they wanted to hit at targets which completely destroys Iran's nuclear capability, its missile capability, and also take out the entire top Iranian leadership. They've done most of it. So the most of the objectives that they'd initially highlighted that have already been met. What's happening now is there is a growing resistance from elements of IRGC and the hardliners within Iran, which are striking civilian targets in the Middle East, continue to make sure that the stock of drones, the Chinese-made drones that they have, and ballistic missiles they have, they continue to mount targets. And also the narrow Strait of Hormuz has become a bone of contention because Iran is able to strike ships at will, and obviously that has disrupted the global uh, oil supply, especially to Asian countries. In countries like India, Japan, South Korea, they are badly impacted. Obviously countries like Pakistan are barely managing their energy needs and are in dire straits. Uh, what's happening now is that over the weekend, there were another round of backchannel talks led by Steve Witkoff, President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and on the Iranian side, Iranian speaker, who's considered a bit of a moderate. Countries like Pakistan, interestingly, are brokering this, and there is also a sense that there may be a meeting, a closed door meeting that may happen between the US negotiators and the Iranian negotiators. On the other side, while all this is continuing, there was an ultimatum which was issued by President Trump earlier, giving Iran 48 hours to stop its strikes on the energy infrastructure of the US and its allies in the Middle East. And while the IRGC did not respond immediately, but because of these back-channel negotiations, President Trump has announced that US will pause these strikes on the power infrastructure of Iran for the next 5 days. Clearly, there is a sense that both sides want an off-ramp for the US, obviously spiraling energy cost here in the US, upcoming midterms, and also, above all, having a semblance that they have achieved uh, targets in the first go itself gives it a good way to go on the negotiating table, because obviously US will not only make sure that any regime in Iran is now crippled, it will not be able to mount any credible threats. It will also, as part of a deal, sources telling me, make sure that Iran does not support any terrorist groups, and also creates some kind of a assurance to US and its allies to make sure the Strait of Hormuz cannot be weaponized at any cost. Obviously, these are talks. Uh, Anything can go wrong, and obviously, the situation is still fragile. But I would still say that this is a big step forward, because the world cannot have this war to continue, because that's having an impact not only in the region. Obviously, Middle East is badly impacted, but it's having an impact on across the globe, whether it's the volatility in the stock markets, the rising crude oil prices, all that have a big impact. And countries like India are severely impacted as well. And obviously, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, said so in India's parliament, even though the government is making efforts there, but they are mindful of the fact that India is largely dependent on oil imports from the Middle East, and only a few tankers coming through the Strait of Hormuz are not good enough. And sooner or later, the government will have to resort to tough measures. So, certainly, it's a situation which is a difficult situation for everyone. And the world will benefit if this war comes to an end. And clearly, US and Israel and its Middle Eastern allies realize that the primary objectives have now been met. Clearly, they want now Iran to come to a solution and to make sure that the dominant faction, which is there now, left of the Iranian leadership, that accepts that. So that's going to happen. You will see how that pans out over this coming week. What will happen to the Strait of Hormuz? Obviously, one thing the world has realized that this is an important choke point. It not only creates a challenge for Asia, but also important for US and its allies. And it's very, very important for them to make sure that the Strait of Hormuz becomes a free waterway, is not being, I would say, held hostage by Iran in the future as well. So there is also some kind of a I would say, a solution that's being worked around that as well, so that the Iranian leadership agrees that some kind of a modality is formed up. So in the future, this cannot be weaponized in any way, because that also ensures that there's a uh, stability for the oil prices in the years to come, which is very, very important for the global economy as well. What happens post this in the US? Clearly, President Trump's wins this round. He not only gains more popularity amongst the Republican voters, but certainly some of the Democratic critics or the voters on the other side who are sitting on the fence, clearly there will be some benefit to President Trump and his presidency, and also in the upcoming midterms. How will this pan out? We'll have to wait and watch. But clearly, that's what they're looking at, because his advisors here at the White House tell me they also want the president now to focus on big domestic issues, making sure that the oil prices come down, the gas prices, as it's called, come down here, make sure that the inflation is under control, home ownership is more accessible, and clearly focus on a domestic agenda. Uh, well, while, as I said earlier, the situation is fragile, but I would say at the beginning of the week, starting on, this is a key stage for the Iran war, and there is a hope that's looking for a peace settlement finally coming through. We can only wait and watch how will the situation unfold, but I would say even incremental step is a big step forward, especially in as complicated as a relationship that exists between Iran and US and Israel and the Middle Eastern allies. Obviously, there has been severe damage. It will take years before these energy infrastructure, before the civilian infrastructure that has been hit can bounce back. But if the war truly comes to an end, uh, by the end of this month, it will be a big win-win for the US and Israel and its allies, because they would have made sure that Iran is badly crippled, its terrorist infrastructure has been impacted, its nuclear ambitions have been thwarted, and also the ballistic missile threat has been eliminated. And also, one more thing, which you should not forget, part of the settlement is also to ensure that Iran does not uh, abides by norms of how in which civilized democratic societies work. So no more hangings or execution of young activists or students who were protesting earlier. So all that is also being worked out as part of a deal, and hopefully that will be realized as well, and we can see a new reformed Iran in the months to come. Stay tuned to our continuing coverage at our sister publication, News Mobile, and our platforms, News Mobile in English and Hindi. Also, do watch and hear this podcast on whatever platform that you like to subscribe to. Thanks for tuning to us.